Cullen live in 1 minute. Welcome to Lynn Cullen Live at pghcitypaper.com. Email your questions and comments to Lynn at pghcitypaper.com.
Hello there, and welcome to yet another Friday, the last Friday of October of 2015, which is to say that tomorrow is Halloween. And then we're into November. Happens every year, damn it. This sort of inexorable march toward winter. There's always this magical thinking part of me that sometimes say, well, maybe this year the leaves won't fall and the winter won't come. It's amazing how we can even spend more than a second or two considering such possibilities, which we know are not true, but whatever. Hello, how you doing? I'm wearing this strange garment that has one arm and not another. And the one arm that it does have is like way, way, way longer than it needs to be. And then the other is cut off. So go figure. And it sort of like twists around. It's very odd, but it's very, very soft and comfortable. And you know who made it? Kia Tomlin, Steeler coach's lovely wife, who is a designer and is, I guess, getting somewhere with these kinds of sweat clothes. I forget what she calls them. But they're all a little wacky, but very comfortable. So, can you tell I don't have anything I want to talk about? Huh? Can you? Oh, dear. Well, let's talk about Halloween a little bit. I can do my usual Halloween rant that it was a perfectly good children's holiday that's been destroyed by greedy capitalists and adults who don't know how to grow up. That is my premise. You can either agree with me on that one or not. But it used to be a true Norman Rockwell-ish kind of little holiday. And it was for the kids. And kids were really excited about it. And you went door to door. And you didn't worry about anything. And you came home and you ate too much candy. And that was that. Right? That was that. And now, of course, because we live in a country that runs on creating needs that are not, desires that one never would have even considered left to one's own devices, excess, big time. And I just feel like Halloween is now just another totally over-commercialized ridiculous. I mean, it's ridiculous. And people spend money on these once a year. I mean, just the way people decorate their homes and some of the crap that sprouts up on people's lawns. 20-foot tall inflatable Frankensteins. I mean, what? Do you think that delights the kids? Do you? I think the kids were every bit as delighted with, a little skeleton hanging in it. Why are you laughing at me?
Because you're being such a killjoy.
Because I'm being a killjoy.
Halloween's my favorite holiday.
I hate it.
Oh, it's so fun.
It was fun. It was fun. It's been destroyed. Commercialized. Got to spend money. Oh, and before we even got into the over-commercialization, it became the really scary holiday. When I was still in the television news, I remember doing those stories before holiday, how hospitals would be open to let you x-ray your child's candy to make sure there were no pins in it. You could have chemical analyses done on every piece to make sure your child wasn't being poisoned. Police stations would stay. I'm sorry. I'm bailing out. I'm bailing out of it all. Matter of fact, I think I'm giving out carrots this year. I hate it. Because it ain't what it was. I love when a little kid shows up in my house, just like it used to be. That I love. But all of this, God, it's a probably $700 gazillion industry now, second only to Christmas. There are people who probably spend. I mean, I know there are. There's actually an article in the Wall Street Journal today about how there's an entire group of people called haunters who live for their ability to once a year create in their homes these outlandish, terrifying displays, which, by the way, generally really piss off the neighbors. Just like the over-the-top Christmas stuff does. So the same people who do the Halloween probably do the... I'm sorry, guys. I'm just not into it. You think I'm a killjoy. I like things when they were simple. I like going to a football game and not being told when to cheer and sort of herded around by by forces beyond my control just to become one other little voice instead of my own self. I hate everything that's happened. Everything. They've ruined it all. We're all just part of a herd. Herded here to spend our money, herded there to keep up with the Joneses, herded over here and told to have a good time, damn it. I don't know. I see we have adults now who can't let go of their childhood. Let the hell. Here, see? You just go, what? Just let go. It's for the kids. It's for the kids. No. All right. And then you see the costumes that these kids are wearing. God, where was when we were kids, your mom pulled together something and you certainly didn't go out and buy anything. You didn't. But that was before we lived in this totally commercialized culture in which we became not citizens but consumers. And so it's the consumerism that's killed it. Killed it! I was listening to Marty Griffin on the way in on KDKA. And he was talking about, he's got 2 little kids, or 3 or 4, I don't know. And he was talking about how their school is having a Halloween party today. Guess what they're serving? This is what they were going to serve at the Halloween party at his kid's elementary school. Celery sticks, mandarin oranges, and smiley face cookies. And then all the parents got an alert from the school yesterday. We are very apologetic for the late notice of this because we know some of you have already gone out and purchased your cookies, but we cannot have cookies. Celery sticks and mandarin oranges for a Halloween party. What the fuck? What the fuck? I feel so sorry for kids. I can't. And of course, you can't have the cookies because they found out somebody actually, busybody called Eaton Park and said, are your cookies made in an environment where they could have come in contact with probably a list of 20,000 potential allergens that maybe one child could. I don't know. I'm sick of it all. I can't take it anymore. I can't. Somebody take me out and put me out of my misery. Hey, Margie! See, you think I'm a wet blanket. Margie says, I hated Halloween as a kid, and I hate it now. I grew up in the country and had to walk a mile for one fucking piece of candy. Well, that's a bitch. Yeah, it's not for. No, I mean, yeah, without a doubt, that would be a problem. I mean, Halloween, without a doubt, works best in an urban setting where houses are real close together. They don't work. It doesn't work so well in suburban with huge lawns and stuff. And I suppose that's why the kids get driven around by their parents from door to door. God, I'm sorry. I am what? Don't you think kids get driven around? What? What? Well, yes, it's cheating, but you think it doesn't happen? And on top of it, one of the thrills of being a kid on Halloween was that you got rid of your parents. You went by yourself. Maybe you went with an older sibling, but you went by yourself. And now, even as kids are quite a bit older, you see there's always these hovering parents going with them. Oh, geez, we're just we've Crazy. I would argue that the streets of my neighborhood are never safer than on Halloween night because so many people are out and home. And so children trick-or-treating by themselves would be in a very, I think, secure situation. I don't. Okay, am I being obnoxious enough? Have I finished being obnoxious? I don't know. Oh, let's talk about costumes because somebody told me where was I? I was somewhere yesterday. Oh yeah, and someone told me what her friend has to go to a party. And of course, these are adults, and of course, you got to dress up and all that kind of stuff. But they're going. She and her partner are going as a Plum District teacher and student. For those of you who are, Plum is the district that has right now about 3 teachers in criminal court for having sexual relations or intimidating students. So they're going as a teacher and a student, which I love the idea because it's topical. I also love the idea because it really doesn't require a costume or much of one. So I do appreciate that. I understand that for some little kids, say you got 2 little boys, maybe one's 2 and one's 5, You could dress up the 5-year-old as Tom Brady, the quarterback, and you dress up the little kid as a deflated football. And I you could even make that one. So that's good. When it comes to the ability to sort of have a little creative fun like that, I do appreciate. I guess the biggest selling mask is, really, there's a no-brainer. If people actually go out and spend money, the biggest selling mask is fill in the blank. Who would it be? God forbid I open my door and see one of those things. It's, of course, Donald Trump. Oh, you could go as like the conjoined twins that Ben Carson you could have 3 people like Ben Carson with sort of like bloody hands and all this kind of stuff, and then you could have 2 other people be the conjoined twins that he separated. Come on, I'm looking for ideas here. Something clever. I will. Here's the other reason I hate it. 'Cause you buy a bunch of candy, right? And then you end up with a bunch of candy. Because the greatest fear is you'll run out of candy. So you always have too much candy. And then what do you do with that candy? Huh? Yeah. I can polish it off in one sitting. So that's the other thing I don't like about it. Anyway, the good news is it'll be over Sunday. November. So I'm just not into it. Sorry, not into Halloween. Oh, here's another thing that I want. Can I rant about something else? And this is so old, but I happened to see the term again today. You can see I'm in a curmudgeonly mood. I really am. A term I detest. And I remember the first time I heard it, I couldn't even believe what I was hearing. But it's absolutely, nobody even blinks. Baby bump. So I'm trying to figure out, so you know what a baby bump is. You don't understand why I would be upset by that.
Everybody has their thing.
Huh?
Everybody has a thing like that, though.
Everybody has things like that.
Like, I hate the word nibble.
Like she hates the word nibble. Nibble, nibble, nibble. Why? Because it sounds too much like nipple?
I hate it when people say, I'm going to bring some nibbles. Like
Okay, I'm
so
sorry.
gross.
She hates people saying, if you're giving a party or something, I'll bring some nibbles. Well, I have to tell you, I've never heard that before. Bring some nibbles. Hello, caller, hello.
Hello.
Trick or treat.
I was dialing the phone when you said, can I rant about something else? So I'm on the Halloween thing.
Okay. The thing I was going to rant about is the phrase baby bump. I hate that. I just hate it.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, just all these little phrases and things. I don't. But I guess time moves on and things change and.
Well, fuck it. That's all I want to say.
Sorry. LOL.
Okay. Okay, go ahead. So you were
the Halloween thing.
Yeah, the Halloween thing.
Yeah, what prompted my call was the leftover candy. I go to my nephew's house. They have 3 kids, and so I let them go. I take the kids out. Nobody comes to my house, and I hand out the candy. And I actually take candy that's from me. So each kid gets at least 2 pieces of candy. But when the end comes, the last kids, and that's because they always have a time, and I shut down at the time.
You do.
But those last kids, I will, if there's like 3 of them, they will get a third of the candy. Each kid will get a third of the candy. The bowls are empty.
You don't want it in your house. It's gone.
I'll save a couple of Reese's cups for me because I love them.
That's what I'm giving away.
Yeah, I always get the Reese's. My nephew never gets the Reese's cups. I bring Reese's cups. But the last kids or the last kid, I'm like, open your bag, and I'll like throw one in. So you want another one? You want another one? You know what? Here. And I hit the pour. And the kids' faces just light up.
Yeah. Isn't that nice?
Thank you. You know, and then, you know, no kid's going to eat all that candy. They'll probably end up sharing with friends and family and all that stuff. But, yeah, you don't want to run out of candy.
No, you don't want to run into candy. I mean, if you run out of candy, you got to turn all your lights off and you know, and lie down on the living room floor.
See, I'm one of those people who you know, let Halloween go
at
like the age of 15 maybe. And, you know, and I've never dressed up since.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I'm lying, because one year I put on about 2 years ago, an eye patch and went as, like, whatever his name is from the Avengers. You know.
That cool guy from the Avengers.
Yeah, because everybody tells me I look like him, so I threw on an eye patch and put on a long black coat and stood there. But,
See, but that's easy. That's okay.
Yeah. I was waiting for Little Fours and Iron Man to come around so I can be like, you know, their background. They have the parents take a picture with. I can't even think of the guy's. I can't even think of his real name, let alone his character name.
Well, if you're asking me, forget about it.
Well, anyway, you know, what do you have in your wallet, that guy?
Oh.
Yeah.
Who is that? Celine ain't helping us either.
You know, he does all the commercials.
Yeah.
It's on a plane.
Yeah. Okay, but as soon as someone says,
actors, huh?
as soon as somebody says I can't remember somebody's name, then I immediately don't remember it either. I can see him.
Yeah. But anyway, the thing that's been getting on my nerves for the last probably 20 years, and I think I complained about it to you 5 years ago, is adults. I said, whatever happened to, you know, it's the baby boomers and now the Xers. You know, they're all psyched up, getting dressed up and going to their Halloween parties. And then you sit there waiting to hand out candies to kids, and you get like 5 kids coming to your house.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. It did. It started with boomers not being able to know when to quit. Mm-hmm. Let it go.
Yeah.
And then it started with boomer entrepreneurs thinking, we got all these boomers who can't grow up. Let's start making Halloween into yet another sort of competition.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
My house is cooler than yours. I got more like crap on my front lawn than you do. Mm-hmm. I can't.
And then, you know, and all the different costumes. And they're elaborate, and they're this, you know, the sexy Pope. You know.
There's a sexy Pope.
Yeah, costumes and stuff like there was like this whole sexy stuff. What are you? I'm a sexy M&M, you know. I'm a sexy shoe, whatever. They just come up with sexy things. You know, and it's really. I said, boy. And when I talk about it, people are like, "Oh, you're a party poop." I'm like, "No, I'm grown." You know, I said, think back to our parents. When did you ever remember our parents dressing up for Halloween?
Ever.
It was all about us.
It was totally about the children.
Yeah.
Grown-ups just don't know how to get out of the fucking way anymore.
Yeah.
It's to save this generation does not want to die, actually doesn't believe it will.
Yeah.
Is making all kinds of bets, and, you know, if I just eat this, don't eat that, blah, 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 I'm just going to live for... I mean, there's a refusal to acknowledge the basic kind of, trajectory of life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You know, they don't want to, you know, they're like wearing Halloween costumes year-round. They're like Botox and stretch and pull and, you know, suck in their guts and add boobs, whatever they got to do to stay young all year round. And, you know, I'm even seeing, you know, middle-aged people getting tattoos.
Oh, yes. Oh, sure. Absolutely.
Isn't it kind of too late?
No, it's not. No. They're doing it left and right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, well. Well, so you're a stick in the mud, too, I'm glad to hear.
Yeah, but I'm sorry. One quick story, I haven't called in a long time. On Facebook, somebody said, I was talking about how old, you know, I'm getting old. And they said, well, you're the same age as me. I'm not old. And then this guy I met when I was 18 in art school said, he's been old ever since I've known him. It's so true.
Yeah, it's true. You are always the old guy. Yeah. Me too, in a way. Yeah, right. Yeah. Oh, that's funny. That's funny. Oh, somebody said it'd be funny as hell to go to go as Jared from.
That is funny.
That was Margie. Well, what? Oh, jeez. All right. Well,
The worst costume would be, Ben Carson. He moves so slow, you only get the one house. Get lucky to get some candy corn.
God, he's so dull. Oh, God. All right, you.
Okay.
It's always
Have a
good to
good
talk
weekend.
to you. Bye.
Okay.
You too.
Bye.
Bye. Ed writes, apropos of nothing in particular, according to the Brain series about the subconscious on PBS last night, if there are bottles of hand sanitizer nearby, the subconscious brain begins to act more conservatively than it otherwise would. I get it. The bottles of hand sanitizer remind you, the minute you see them, that you should be afraid of something, that there is a danger, that you need to be vigilant and be keeping your hands clean, and just puts you sort of on a little bit more adrenaline state of alert. I bet that's true. And as soon as you get into that kind of scared, under threat, you end up, voting Republican. So Ed's suggesting we get rid of all the hand sanitizer bottles before the election. Not a bad idea. I mean, it's thinking outside the old box. Appreciate that. Laura writes, in regard to the baby bump, I hate that too. And I hate the tight top stretching over that protruding baby bump. Women don't need to emphasize that they're pregnant. I don't think it needs to be hidden. Just not so out there. I mean, cover them up. I don't want to see your damn, popped out navel and your, I don't. And same holds for wearing leggings and tights as pants. What's up with that? And Laura says, I'm getting so old. Yeah, well, I'm right with Laura. I don't know. People seem to really want to present their bodies all the time for inspection, for public consumption. Yeah, I agree with you about the pregnant women dressing. I liked it better when it wasn't so. Although I suppose it's just as well that we get to know this is what the contours of a pregnant woman are. I don't know that I was fully aware because I grew up in a time when women who were pregnant, essentially, wore these flowing things over those. So you never really saw that outline. Huh?
Might be more supportive.
And Celine's wondering if some of that tight stuff is sort of holds you a little bit and is more supportive. I don't know, but it is. I agree with you. It all started. Who started that? Was that Demi Moore on the cover of something with that shot of her 9 months pregnant, and it was a naked shot profile. And ever since then, my God, women who are pregnant are really pregnant right in your face. It's true. I don't know. I agree with you. You don't want to go back to like where if you were pregnant, you're supposed to hide. You were not supposed to be seen because it was evidence that you had sex. And then everyone would know. You'd be walking down the street and they say, "Oh my God, she had sex." Okay, so now that we're beyond that craziness, we don't have to do it. But I don't think those tight-fitting things are. I don't think a woman looks attractive in them, and I think a pregnant woman can look extremely attractive. But not in some of what they're wearing these days, I believe. Margie says some comedian called Ben Carson human melatonin. Yeah, he really is just... And it affectless. It's almost like he's, something ain't quite... I said this yesterday. Something ain't quite right. I don't know what it is, but it's something ain't quite right. So, I want to let you know about something that's going on at Duquesne if you're interested in this. And I suspect this might cost money, but I don't know that for sure. This is something that we can thank Cyril Wecht for, because as you know, at Duquesne University, there's a very highly thought of institute named after Cyril, and it's an institute of forensic science and law. And they've done a lot of wonderful panel discussion. They do these symposia and bring people in, and they make news a lot of times in this. Well, the one coming up in November 12th and 13th, is called Beyond Baltimore. And they're going to bring together a whole bunch of really interesting people to talk about the strained relationship between law enforcement and particularly African-American urban communities. And they're going to talk about the use of body cameras, implicit bias, excessive force, and all this kind of stuff. And a lot of really interesting people are coming in to speak, including the Baltimore Police Commissioner, who will be in attendance, Kevin Davis, and Pittsburgh's Police Chief, Cameron McClay, Dr. Henry Lee, who is, as you know, the celebrated forensic pathologist, or I guess they call them criminalists now. He was headquartered out in L.A., so he did the autopsies of more famous people than you can imagine, and more, I don't know. Dr. Henry Lee, he's a good friend of Cyril's. And a whole bunch of other folks coming in as well. I've been asked to play some little bit of a role, which I'm not even quite clear about, on some panel. But that's why I know about this. And if you're interested in looking at what's there, and if there are things you might want to go to, again, it's November 12th and 13th, and you can find more information at Duquesne University and just look at Beyond Baltimore. Look for that, Beyond Baltimore. So it'd be www.duq.edu/Beyond Baltimore. I'm sure you can find stuff about it. Anyway, just let you know about that. Chuck writes Halloween at work. Oh, God. Lynn, there was nothing I dreaded more than my employer, that when my employer would mandate, oh, my God, that everyone wear Halloween costumes. There was always that one employee who should not have worn the costume, and they regretted it for weeks afterwards. And if you didn't take your costume seriously enough, you'd be ridiculed. And God help the employee who made a distasteful attempt at dressing up as the boss. So in other words, it's just fraught. It's a fraught thing now. So you take the joy out of a holiday and make it into a competitive endeavor, and one that has, really consequences applied to it. I know there are people that really do not like being in costume. A lot of people are freed up when they're in a costume. They feel like that they don't have to be themselves anymore. So if they're relatively shy, but they're in a costume, they can be sort of out there. So a lot of people love that. Other people just feel ridiculous, and it's hard for them. And yet you don't, it seems like in a situation like that, where in a business that people would be required to do it, that's really, it's a children's holiday. Denise writes, I'm a few minutes behind you on the show, so we may have exhausted this topic. But what I see with all of the preparations we do now for everything is that we have lost the fun spirit of adventure in our lives because we keep trying to reach that perfect experience. People drive themselves crazy with preparations and purchase. Oh, it always involves money. Oh, yeah, you got to spend stuff. We even have lawsuits that really boil down to my experience or my child's experience was not perfect. It's just crazy. Yeah. I mean, I do, yeah. If there's anyone who knows how to take the fun out of something, it's capitalists, because they create a sort of, they can't help themselves. They make it into a situation in which there's stress and there's real anxiety to perform and to not look like you're shirking. And man, I am so glad I don't live on the street next over from my street, because that's sort of a major kind of street. And those people get so many trick-or-treaters. And over the years, certain houses have started putting up some really heavy-duty displays. And that forces the hand of everybody else on the street. I mean, I pity the poor person who just says, I'm going to go buy a fucking pumpkin and I'm going to cut a little face in it and put a candle in, and there, I'll have done my thing. Because they'll look like they're not in the spirit of the holiday. Mike, in regard to all this, says, look, we're a culture of narcissists. Look at me, look at me. Look at my pregnant belly. Look at me dressed like Trump. Look at my display. Look at my brilliant costume. Look at me. Look at me. Look at me. Yeah. I just feel sorry for the kids. That's all. Okay, so that's my usual Halloween rant. Some of you are sick of hearing it because I've been doing it for some time, ever since it became clear that Halloween had disappeared. Hey, so now with the pay things on the parking meters in Pittsburgh, you can have an app on your phone, and you don't have to stand there. This is the greatest thing ever. Now you do not have to wait while some confused human being stands at the thing trying to figure out how to pay. You can sit in your car and pay right on your phone and through the app. So check it out. It's called GoMobilePittsburgh.com. And I saw it for the first time yesterday. I happened to have to go to the Apple store. And I saw it and I thought, oh, wow. Cool. And then there was a piece in the paper today that, yes, in fact, it just launched very quietly, I must say, yesterday. That was the first day. And they've already had thousands of people sign up. And the neat thing is if you're out to dinner, you can just put more money in the meter from your dinner. You don't have to get, it finally makes sense. Caller, hi.
Hi.
Hey.
Hey, did you see that the age that people live didn't tick up?
Yeah, for the first time.
And I'm glad.
Yeah, me too.
I'm sick of all that crap.
Yeah, enough already.
Yeah.
Yeah, leave the stage. People don't know when to die anymore.
Yeah, I mean, like you say, everybody thinks they're going to eat and exercise and live
Yeah,
to 100.
and they aren't going to die, right.
Yeah.
And it's the first time that, since they've been really watching this expectancy, that is it just America or is it over the world, has not risen? I think it was American life expectancy had not grown. It's like flat.
And you were talking about people, how they like to look at me. I was talking to a veteran, and he was saying he was in World War II, and he said that he can't believe the people that have bumper stickers and license plates that say that they're in the Army. Or he said, when we came home from World War II, a lot of us just didn't even talk about it.
No,
he
that's
said,
true.
These people brag. They just brag. He said he wasn't real impressed with it at all. He said he's disappointed disappointed in the military how they act like that. And it's all about that. Look at me, I served. I had 2 tours of this. I had it, which I didn't have to begin with. But,
well, I think some of that is because now that it's a volunteer army, people maybe do have the right to say, hey, you other 99 point how many percent of you, I'm somebody who served. It maybe is a reasonable bragging right. I don't know.
I don't think.
But but you're right. No
no
one ever
expected had it worse than
Yeah.
somebody who volunteered. You chose to do that, so you know what I mean. Vietnam and World War II. I just think when you're drafted, you had to go. When you don't have to do something, don't bitch. That's how I feel about it. I always felt that. Well, not to say you don't honor them and all that, have Veterans Day and all that, but it's just it's got so out of hand, and it goes back to this thing with Halloween and Christmas and all. It just everything goes to extreme.
Everything goes too far. We
Yeah.
just don't have a clue when to stop. I agree.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, we'll see. Have a good
Bye. Happy Halloween.
weekend. Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you. Bye.
Curmudgeons of the world unite. I'm really a very happy curmudgeon. I want you to know. Beth writes, Demi Moore was on the cover of Vanity Fair, and that was a shot, they photographed by Annie Leibovitz. Since I first saw Ben Carson, Beth says, I thought and still do think, oh, thank you for saying it, because I feel the same way, that he has some sort of Asperger's. Yeah, there's something not, the affectlessness, the strangeness. I wondered if it might be. So, okay, you said it. I didn't want to say it. People who have Asperger's are very often very bright, but socially lacking. Watch him. He always closes his eyes when he first starts to answer a question, almost like he's in some sort of pain. I just think he's odd. I don't know if it's Asperger's, but something is odd. If you do not like Christmas, Beth goes on, you are a bah humbug. So if you do not like Halloween, you are a bah pumpkin bug. Bah pumpkin. All right, whatever. Speaking of Asperger's, there was a documentary, I guess it's still on HBO, that I happened to watch last night. And I think it's called Dancing in Ohio. And I started it not knowing what the hell it was, and it turned out it was a documentary about people with that have autism and are like 17, 18, up into their 20s and beyond. But they're in a program in which they're, trying to be as out there and social and interactive, and they're learning how to do that. And this whole thing was built around the fact that they were going to have a spring prom. And you followed certain of these people. I never really spent so much time as I did last night watching that documentary in the company of somebody struggling with autism and their families. And wow, that is, I find life hard in many ways. I really do. And that I should find life hard and then look at what they're asked, the hurdles that they have to overcome, to live their lives. I mean, it's like my tongue should be cut out if I ever complain again. It was so moving, and it really was. I found it inspirational and moving. If you have a chance, check it out. And I think it was really helpful in an educational way as well, about understanding, that people who are autistic are on many different levels, and capable of different things. But I'll tell you, there were scenes in there where they were having a hell of a good time at their prom. I mean, they were laughing and dancing, and it was just joyous. My son had poked his head in and said, "Oh, God, that's so depressing. How can you watch that?" I said, "Well, I don't think it is depressing. I think it's almost the opposite. It's just sort of inspirational." So I am somebody who just, is not challenged a lot in living my life, and I don't know how I got it by. Believe me, crapshoot. Are you going to vote on Tuesday? You damn well better. Everybody, do some homework. Whatever you do, if there is a Republican, next to anybody, you do not vote for them. They have proven that if you vote for them for a legislative position, they will not do the job. So do not vote for them. If you vote for them in a judicial capacity, you're also flirting with all kinds of probably bad decisions. Please, vote for the Democrats. They ain't perfect, but they'll push things a little bit forward. And as for the Post-Gazette endorsing that person over Heather Arnay, it's beyond comprehension and beyond forgiveness. That did it for me. And I'll tell you what it is. It's their friggin' publisher. That bow-tied, waspy, tight-assed, nerdy-looking guy. What's his name? Blockhead. He has one issue. It's privatizing the liquor control. That's all he cares about. I guess he cannot get the 500-year-old brandy that he prefers at his local state store. And so who the hell knows? All I know is that the only way you can figure why the Post-Gazette endorsed the Republican and not Arnay is because he is for privatizing the LCB, which, and it's quite clear, it's Block's paper, and so this is the only thing that they do endorsements on anymore. That's why they endorse Corbett. And his father, who used to be the publisher before he died, never fiddled like this guy. So he's the one who insisted on hiring that awful woman who now has a column. Forget her name. He's really hurting this paper. I mean, on the one hand, he's keeping it alive, but on the other hand, I'm starting to wonder, who cares? It ain't what it was. He's destroying it. He destroyed the village in order to save it. We destroyed the village, and do you remember that? That was actually something that was said in all seriousness. Vietnam War. Down the rabbit hole. Me lie. Kathy is telling me China has now changed the law on having only one child. Yes, they did that just the other day. And now, boy, those Chinese can really go to town. They can have two. And the reason is fooling around with Mother Nature like the Chinese government did has really screwed them up. And we were talking before. You got millions upon millions upon millions of men who can't find wives because if you could only have one child, people had boys. If they had girls, girls were killed, girls were put in orphanages. When you look at people in America who've adopted Chinese kids, they're always girls, right? You ever seen an adopted Chinese boy? I never have. It would be a real anomaly because it's the girls. Families would give them up and try for a boy. Well, now you have such a demographic unbalance in China among sexually active people that there's trouble. And when you have a lot of men, this is always the case, who you got more men than women, you got more testosterone around than you got estrogen, this has implications on a culture, and it's never good. Too much testosterone, never good, and needs outlets, but the women are not there. There's also nobody to care. They have one of the oldest populations, and there'll be nobody to care for all these old Chinese guys. So, it's not nice to mess with Mother Nature. When you start screwing around like that and thinking you can sort of create a specific society and culture, real short-term thinking going on when they did that. Real short-term thinking. And now it's time to pay the piper. However, apparently an awful lot of Chinese will not have more than one. They got used to having one, and they like it. A lot of them like it. They're now living a more affluent lifestyle, a lot of people, and they see that with just one kid, their lives can have a higher quality. And so it's not necessarily the case that you're going to see a lot of babies. Probably in rural areas you will see more. But whatever. Okay. Henry writes, Lynn, I was wondering if you heard Paul Ryan's full speech yesterday. No, I did not, Henry. I am not as much of a news junkie or a masochist as you are. No, I just couldn't. He almost converted me back to being a Republican. Henry! I realize these are just words, but he sure did choose the right ones. And his call for a return to regular order exposed Boehner's flawed processes in the House. Anyway, I liked what I heard. Well, Henry, fine. Be careful. Be careful. Paul Ryan is a flat-out Ayn Rand devotee. His views on economics are scary as holy hell. And the fact that he's smooth and well-spoken is exactly why he was the only one in the entire congressional delegation that everybody agreed could even reasonably be expected to take on that job. Don't fall for him. He's like the smooth-talking, good-looking guy. Don't be on guard, very much on guard. Yiko. All right. Then this other thing I brought up the other day about how the pitcher who started for the Royals in the first game took the mound without knowing what a lot of other people in the stadium knew, that his father was dead. And how odd that is. But it was what his wife said. He said, don't tell him, let him pitch. And they told him after. But it brings up a question. And it brings up the question of when do you break bad news? And when is the right time? And it's right for different people at different times. And the New York Times sports section went into these other situations that were somewhat like that. Do you tell somebody something that will perhaps undercut their performance at a time when they care that their performance be okay? And his father will still be dead 2 hours later if you let him pitch and whatever. But here are some of the other instances. There was a concert pianist playing in the final round of a big piano competition. He's an American, and the date was September 11th, 2001. He was a New Yorker. And the people who were around him decided not to tell him because he was about to take the stage, and they didn't want him to be freaking out about that. But he said basically about 30 seconds before going on stage, the guy who was touching up my makeup for the television broadcast told me. So he went out there and he was, just rattled. But he says, I think that by the time I got to the second movement, which happened to be a tragic movement, I think that knowledge, at least for me, gave my music more resonance. He sort of channeled it into his music. And but he said in retrospect he would have preferred to have known beforehand, not 30 seconds before, because it would have given him the choice of whether or not he would go on. So it's hard to know what you do in those situations. I just happened to see the movie The Martian, and the same question arises in that movie. Some American astronauts get the hell off Mars in a very quick way, an escape, and they leave behind one of their own who they believe was killed in the moments before they escape. And as they're heading back to Earth, which takes months and months and months and months, the people on Earth have decided they're not going to tell them that the guy is alive, because it would take their focus away from it would screw them up, it would make them guilty, it would this and that. And that decision plays a huge role there, too. When do you tell him? Yeah, I don't know. It's one of those situations you don't want to be in. Ed writes, did you see that Franco Harris, yes, is on TV endorsing Ann Covey, the only judge running for the Supreme Court who is listed as not recommended? Yes, he is, and he's doing it for one reason and one reason only, because if there's something that Franco really cares about, like Penn State, where he was a star football player, and he got very involved, as you know, when the Sandusky thing happened, and he was extremely furious with Penn State's handling of that and the way it took down Paterno. And so it's his still clearly strong feelings about that resulted in his endorsing this woman who is a judge, and who apparently was part of some decision that regarding the Penn State Sandusky thing that he was happy about. So he's on her team because they're on the same team in that regard. It is strange because Franco is usually, he is a political guy, but he is usually pretty liberal Democrat politically. And this judge ain't no liberal Democrat. So, make of that what you will. I think he felt he must have been asked, and he must have thought about it, and he must have said yes, because he really appreciated what she had done in that regard. There is no doubt that when voting for the Supreme Court, if you want this Pennsylvania court to stop being an embarrassing, humiliating, laughing stock. I mean, half the court, it seems, has been in jail or is under some kind of cloud or is, sending despicable emails around. I mean, this is our Supreme Court, for Christ's sake. And there are 3 excellent Democrats running. All 3 can win. Got an opportunity here because all the criminals and people having to leave the court, there's a lot of openings. And there is no doubt that the 3 best people, without a doubt, are the Democrats. Okay? Donahue, Doherty, and Wecht. And they're all highly, highly, highly rated by the Bar Association. So please, you think judicial elections don't matter? You think these kind of elections don't matter? These are the elections that the Democrats don't show up at. And this is why so many state legislatures are Republican. Why they can then gerrymander and jerry-rig so that the Congress of the United States, the House, has become almost totally Republican territory as well. All this stuff has consequences. All of it has consequences. Please vote, and please tell everyone in your earshot that they damn well better vote too, okay? And happy Halloween, and I'll see you again on Monday. Toodles.
Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper, Steel City Media, and its advertisers.